In this live stream, we're going to talk about how to create financial goals. Welcome back to another episode of Finance After Dark. And in this live stream, we're going to talk about how to create financial goals. So let me know if you're watching right now in the chat. If you're watching the replay afterwards, do you have financial goals right now? What are your financial goals? Are they new financial goals? Like, are they something you're trying to accomplish in the next month, in the next year? Are they further down the line? Is it something that you're trying to accomplish in the next 10 years? Let me know, because in this live stream, we're going to try to understand the benefits of financial goals. Yes, there are obvious benefits to having financial goals. The types, there are different types of financial goals. How to prioritize financial goals. Okay, so we're talking about, this is probably actually the one of the more challenging ones to kind of come across. And this is me talking to my older self over 10 years ago. I was very poor. I was broke. I was living paycheck to paycheck. I had tens of thousands of dollars in debt, and I had no financial goals. I had no plans. I had nothing, right? So I'm going to be talking about a 5-part framework that's going to help us reach these financial goals, to set financial goals. And then hopefully by the end of this live stream, if you guys are still willing to hang out, I'd love to do like a Q&A and see if we could revamp some of your financial goals or thoughts around finances that you have now. We could implement that framework and we could see if we can come up with something that could help you and can benefit you. So I would love to be able to do that. So first we have to kind of back up. What is a financial goal? I define a financial goal as a specific target to help guide your money decisions over a period of time. Okay. So why do financial goals matter? Inside my free personal finance community, as a money coach in there, I've been a corporate accountant for over a decade as well. But when I'm talking to people inside there, I like to talk to people about finding their North Star goals. Okay. And the North Star goals is basically the list of things that are the most important to you. So it could be a list of 2 things, 5 things, 10 things, 20 things. It doesn't really matter, because this is your list, right? And I have my list. Someone else will have their list. But it's like, what matters to you the most in life with your finances? Like, it doesn't have to just be money stuff. It could be life stuff too. So it's a really good exercise to kind of go through. And then from there, we take that list and we look at our life, we look at our money, we look at the time we're spending. We see like, okay, are we optimizing these North Star goals with the money that we're spending, the time that we're putting towards things, right? And these North Star goals now become a filter for you of like, okay, if these are the most important things, I need to make sure I'm optimizing for this, and then everything else I can kind of trim around the fat everywhere else because I'm saying it's not as important, right? Financial goals help you control your money instead of letting it control you, right? So it's kind of the idea of being proactive with reaching financial goals, or proactive in your finances and not reactive. Because I think where a lot of people get stuck, and this is where I got stuck a lot of times, is you just kind of react. You go through the month, like life is hard, right? You go through, you're just trying to make it. You're, waiting for that next paycheck to come, and then it's the end of the month, and it's like, crap, I have no more money. Where did it go? Like, I was supposed to pay off debt this month. I was supposed to save money. And we're just like reacting to everything. But if we can start planning ahead, I think that's why the financial goals are so important. And they just give you direction and motivation and a plan for the future. I want you to think about, let's say that we're on a trail, all of us right now watching this live stream. We're on a trail. We're headed up to a big mountain. And your financial goals are at the top of the mountain, right? It looks like right now that there's just one path to get up there. But what we don't see is that there's probably paths left and right of us. There's going to be a straight path up the mountain. It's going to be maybe a little more dangerous. There's going to be paths maybe on the back side of the mountain where it's like we're zigzagging up. It's going to take a little longer, but it's safer, right? So it's just something to think about, like financial goals, in a way of there's not one correct answer in trying to reach a financial goal. There's just not. There's fast ways to do it. There's slow ways to do it. There's ways that are sustainable that you're going to keep going with it. So it's just I'm doing this live stream to kind of paint that picture and to kind of help you think about it as another perspective. Because without financial goals, at least this was my take on it back in the day. Like my mind was all fuzzy, and it's just like, again, you go through the month and you're like, what is going on? Why do I not, like, where's all my money going? And then with financial goals, you can kind of see a direct point of like A to B. It's like, okay, I'm here. I want to go here. Let's reverse engineer the stuff in the middle and try to figure out how to get there. So the benefits of a financial goal, they help us make informed decisions. So things like it helps us prioritize our spending. And if we have a financial goal or, or like, the North Star goal idea, now it's like, okay, how are we going to make this thing happen? Right. Another benefit of a financial goal is we track the progress of it. We can track it. So it's where you are now versus where you want to be. And then we track it along the way. So it's like, okay, let's say, well, we'll get into some examples actually when I get into the framework a little later on. Another benefit, it's going to reduce your stress. I'm pretty confident that if you had a goal that you set up, it's just going to give you a little more clarity around your finances. It's going to give you a stronger why as to like, okay, because we all know that, things like tracking our finances, budgeting is super boring, right? It's so boring and it's tedious and it's not fun. Like, I strongly recommend someone budgeting if they are stuck in their finances, but I'm not going to come out here and say it's the most amazing thing ever. It's boring, it's awful, it's terrible. But like if we have financial goals and we have the right financial goals for you, then it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to, endure some boring stuff here, some misery, because I know that this is going to be the thing that eventually takes me over the finish line. And another benefit to a financial goal is it's going to help achieve long-term success, because it's not just the stuff that's happening tomorrow or next month, next year, but we have to think a little further on in the future. The types of financial goals. So, and I just kind of alluded to it. There's three really types. There's short-term goals, which is 12 months or less. Medium-term goals, which is about 1 to 5 years, I'd like to say, and then long-term goals are over 5 years. So there's really three buckets here. And how do we prioritize financial goals? Like, because you could be sitting there right now, and let me know if you're watching this. Let me just catch up on the messages here. Currently studying undergrad in accounting and finance, but I want to fulfill my financial goal for like $1,000 in 4 months. I want to reach that first. Can you guide me to make my goals? Absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna get through some of there's a 5-part framework a little later on in the live stream. Hi, it's me again. Hey, Matthew, what's going on? Glad to see you back here. Crystal, good to see you. Ahmed Plays, what's going on? Appreciate you guys being here, hanging out on what's today, Monday night. It's just after 9 p.m. for me. I'm on the East Coast of the U.S. Where are you guys watching from? So back to kind of the talk here. So how do we prioritize financial goals? That's what it was. That's what I was saying. So, if you're anything like me, when I was just kind of figuring out my personal finances, you're like, wait, how do I know, like, where am I putting my money? Because I have so many issues. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I have no savings. I'm in all this debt. I don't really have like a retirement thing going on. So how do I prioritize it? So that's what financial goals help you do. Because it's we're going to rank the problems in order of importance. So for you, if you're watching this, there's probably one thing that is a higher priority. And sometimes this one thing, if you fix this one thing, will lead to improvements on other things like in your financial goals. So if you, I don't know, for example, if you if you're living paycheck to paycheck and you have no savings, it's like, well, how about we just start building the habit of saving money? Even if you're like, well, I don't have any savings, but $100 a month just doesn't seem like a lot. Like, I don't think I'm really going to get ahead. But it's like, if you've never saved before, then $100 a month is great. We're building up the habit. So like, so something like that could be like, okay, I'm going to start this habit of saving money. And then this habit of saving money is going to grow in my personal I'm going to become addicted to it. That's what happened to me. It's like, I'm addicted to like keep improving the process. And then you're saving $200 a month, and then you're adding more money to your debt. And then like it just really kind of builds up. The another easy kind of way to think about prioritizing financial goals is what are the current resources and time that are going to be needed to solve the problem, right? So if you're sitting there like, okay, saving $100, there's not a lot of current resources or time to make that happen. But saving $10,000, it's like, okay, obviously we need to sometimes like break out that big plan, the $10,000, and break it into smaller little chunks. So like the small goal of $100, most people can do that hopefully in like 1 month, right? But the $10,000 is going to take a lot longer. So it's just obviously you would prioritize like, okay, let's just do the $100 thing because we know we can do that like this month or tomorrow. Okay, but how do you make a goal, Chris? You've been yapping this whole time. So what I've used in the past is this 5-part framework, and it's an acronym. It's called SMART Financial Goals. Okay, SMART. It's an acronym. We're going to go through each of the letters. So the S stands for specific. So with specific, we want clear, detailed answers to the questions of who, what, when, where, and why. Oh, Tuesday morning in Pakistan, Ahmed, you are going nuts. That's like middle of the night. Go to sleep, my friend. Will this be available for review later? Yes. So I'm doing, I don't know why I agreed to do this with myself, but I'm basically going to do a nightly live stream through the end of June, and they're all going to be up on my channel. So once this usually takes about 12 hours for it to like be public online, the replay for some reason. So check back maybe tomorrow or something, and it's just going to be up there. You'll see the other ones that I've been doing the last couple days, and I obviously have my regular videos and all this other stuff in there. But yes, it will absolutely be available afterwards. So feel free to come back and check in later on. So yes, specific: who, what, when, where, and why. And before we go over what a good goal is, let's look at what a bad one is, right? Because we have to do a little compare and contrast. And a bad goal is something like, I want to be debt-free. Like if you were to say that, I would say, that's a bad goal. It's probably not even a goal because it's just a thought. So let's think about it. Let's try to then figure out what a good goal looks like. So let's go back to our 5 questions of who, what, when, where, and why. So it's like, okay, let me actually think about this. Let me dive a little deeper. So who is this for? Well, me, right? Okay. The financial goals for me. What? I want to pay off and this is just an example, by the way. I want to pay off $3,000 credit card debt. Okay. That sounds pretty cool. When? How about the next 6 months? Okay. Why? To be more efficient building my wealth. Okay, yeah. So you probably are thinking then that like, oh, if I get rid of my debt, because debt is the least efficient thing that I can be doing with my money. And then once I pay off the debt, I'm going to be using that money towards better financial goals that are actually going to help me in the future, right? And then where? Well, this is going to be a plug for my free personal finance community, but inside there, I have free tools and resources like a budget template and a debt payment calculator that you would be able to use at your disposal to help you kind of look at the numbers and play around with things going forward. So which one to you sounds more specific? And we're going to go through this really quickly. The first thing we said, I want to be debt-free. How specific do you think that sounds? Not very. Right? Again, it's more of a thought. It's a good thought. Everyone should have this thought, but it's not really a goal. What about this? I want to pay off $3,000 in credit card debt over the next 6 months by dedicating extra money from my budget after applying new skills learned in Finance After Dark live streams, right? It's obviously way more specific, and you're more likely to do it because you can kind of lock in on how specific it is. The next letter in the acronym, so we just went over specific, S, is now measurable for M, okay? And this, we want to create something that leaves no room for gray area. So either the goal happened or it did not. There's no wishy-washy, okay? So an example could be like, I want to pay $500 towards my credit card each month for the next 6 months to reach my goal of paying off $3,000. So the things that we could measure in that sentence that I just said was the $500 a month for the next 6 months to my goal of reaching 3K, right? So paying off the 3K. So saying something like, "Oh, I want to pay off more debt this month," it's not measurable. I mean, you could measure and say like, "Oh, it was more than last month," but in terms of just like a thought, like once you're specific with it, and now you know like, oh, okay, wow, the $500. Now I need to find $500 in my budget to be able to make this work. And I got to move stuff around because becoming debt free is one of my North Star goals. That's why we're doing this, right? So then it's like, okay, well, I have to filter that thought through the North Star goals. I have to trim the fat everywhere else and try to make it work. And that's how we get like motivated and excited to make the thing happen, because it's like, oh, I'm only 6 months away from doing this. I might be able to make this happen, right? The next letter in the acronym is A for achievable. And this is, we want stuff to be realistic and that can be accomplished within our current resources and capabilities. But there's a huge caveat with that, okay? Because this is different for each of the types of financial goals that we went over, the short term, medium term, and long term. So for short term, a year and under, we probably want the goal to be very realistic, because a year depends on how you think about it, but it's a long time, but it's also a short time, right? And then as the goals become longer and longer, we want it to get crazier and crazier. So like if you have a goal of, I don't know, some longer term, like if you have a mortgage or something and you want to pay off your mortgage, instead of 30 years, you want to do 15 years or something, that's like, you're like basically paying it off in half the time. And that sounds crazy right now if you're like, oh, wow, how am I going to do that? But you don't want to say like, oh, I'll pay it off in 29 years. It's like, that's not crazy, right? You want it to be a little crazy. And I have this quote here that it's actually from Bill Gates. Sure, you guys know who that is, the Microsoft guy, right? He says that most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, and they underestimate what they can do in 10 years. And this is a guy that obviously built one of the biggest companies in the world, right? So I think he understands like long-term goal setting and planning. And I think there's some truth to that, where it's like we get all jazzed up to like do this thing in the next month or 3 months or 6 months. And then like we look and life goes by and like we didn't end up doing the thing and nothing happens. But then in 10 years, no one's even thinking about 10 years from now. So I challenge you to, how can we find a thing that's so far out in the future that you're going to sound crazy to yourself talking about it, but how can you latch onto something that you can do in like 10 years? And it just sounds crazy. Ready for smart? Let's go. Can't really sleep. Lord loves you, my brother. I appreciate that. Brogan Clay. Can you please repeat alphabet A? So sorry, I didn't understand. Oh yeah, so the acronym SMART, SMART. So we went over S for specific, M for measurable, A for achievable, and we're going to be diving into the next two here in a second. So to kind of sum up on achievable, because I kind of gave you a little gray area there, which I don't like doing, but I think it's important, because I can't tell you to make a crazy goal for something 6 months from now, and I can't tell you to make a boring goal 10 years from now. So there is kind of that distinction that you kind of have to be aware of. So don't let the word achievable slow your growth, because if all of our goals were achievable, we wouldn't be able to reach our wildest dreams. Right? If everything's achievable, then nothing we do in life is going to feel like outstanding. You know what I mean? So don't limit yourself. And an example around this thing that I'm doing here. So for achievable, I can allocate $500 each month by reducing certain expense categories that no longer align with my financial goals. And that feels achievable in this example where we're trying to pay off debt in 6 months. So we would want a 6-month goal to feel achievable. The next letter in the SMART framework is R for relevant. And with this one, it's going to align with your larger life goals, your financial goals, your priorities. So again, think like the North Star goals. Like how is it all aligning to the stuff that we're saying matters the most. And this one to me is kind of all about motivation. And why is that important? There are too many distractions for really for life, but like our money. There's so many things out there for money. And to kind of keep going with this example, if your goal is to pay off debt, we should not be thinking about things like Bitcoin or sports betting or the new get rich quick scheme or day trading or, insert, distraction, right? Because it's like if your thing is like, I want to pay off debt or I want to save money, having all these different things is not a good idea in my opinion. And let's think about it like this. Because I kind of like this example. I think this is a good way to like show how distractions work with everything. Because again, this was me. I went from not really doing anything with my personal finances to becoming so distracted. I want a piece of like everything of like what I thought I could make money or do whatever. But if you had, let's say you had, I don't know, $800. Let's say you have 8 $100 bills to spend towards a financial goal. And what you did was you found 8 different things. So again, it's like, yeah, Bitcoin, and we're doing day trading, and we're going to save money. We're going to pay off debt. You put $100 towards all those things, hoping that one of them just kind of like changes your life, right? Let me know, like, have you thought like this before or been there before? But what would happen if you put all that $800 towards one thing and you just kind of really honed in and focused in on something that like actually matter to you and will actually make a difference? Because if you're, yeah, again, we're not saving any money, or if, the debt payoff is kind of slow, it's like, what if we put all the extra resources that we had towards the one thing and solve that one problem first? I think that would be super beneficial. What do you guys think about that? Because which one do you think is more powerful? The 8 ways of what I'm saying is distraction finance, or like the one power finance? I don't know what I'm saying anymore, guys. It's late. I'm tired, but I'm trying to stay awake for you guys here. So smash the like button, and if you're watching this and you're just kind of joining me, I'm just going to be doing this live stream, Finance After Dark. I told myself through the end of June, basically when my night ends, I'm just going to hop on here and talk to you guys about some sort of topic. So if you appreciate that, or if you're interested in kind of hopping on more days, a couple times a week, once a week, that would be so cool. Just, hit the subscribe button and you'll get notified when I go live and all that good stuff. So for relevant, the example could be paying off this $3,000 in credit card debt will free up money for savings and reduce my financial stress, which is a high priority for my peace of mind and future goals. Hey, Pineapple Pyramid, thank you. It's like we have to set up our plan according to our capability, right? That's what you mean by achievable. Yes, but I also, Ahmed, I don't want you to think small of yourself, where you don't think you're capable of doing a thing that seems out of reach for you. So what I'm saying is, like, for your achievable goals, if it's something that you think you can do in 6 months, we want it to be achievable. But if it's something in 10 years from now that you're like, wow, I think I want to, I don't know, create a business and have all these, I don't know, XYZ, whatever, insert whatever you want to think, just like make it so crazy that you have to try to do it. Because that you always need that carrot kind of dangling in front of you, like some sort of motivation to kind of make that happen. And the crazier the goal is in the future, I think the juicier the carrot kind of will be. I mean, isn't it very risky to put it all in one thing? Yeah, and I don't mean like investing or something like that, but like I'm saying, instead of like, so if someone was going through life and they were like, okay, wow, I don't have any savings, I have debt to pay off, but I also want to invest my money, I want to do all these things. I'm not saying like put 100% into one vehicle. I'm just saying, like, as you're getting going here, like putting all the attention towards one thing, it's just going to happen faster, I guess is what I'm saying. So if like you have no savings and you want to get to a $10,000 savings account or something like that, just to have like an emergency fund, putting money towards that savings account until it's fulfilled, you'd get there a lot faster than like putting some money in and then some money over here. Same thing with the debt. If you have debt, if you really focus on just the debt, it's going to happen faster. It just is. Instead of paying like, half of your extra money towards debt, you're putting a little over here, you're putting a little over here. Does that kind of make sense, Ahmed? The one focus method. Yep, absolutely, Crystal. I love that. All right, guys. So the last and final letter part of this framework is time. T for time. And time helps create a specific deadline, which creates a sense of urgency and provides a target to work for, right? And this kind of works at like the start of the goal as well as the length of the goal. So let me kind of explain. At the start of the goal, what I kind of mean by this is like anyone can start the new thing tomorrow. It's so easy to just be like, oh, yeah, that thing I want to do, I want to start it tomorrow. I'm going to start trying to save money tomorrow. I'm going to really hone in on paying off debt tomorrow. I'm definitely going to catch up on my budgeting tomorrow. But it's like, why not start today, right? Because if you were at, I don't want to say you for this example. If I was at my place of work, okay, and let's just say the building caught fire and it was 11 a.m. in the morning, and I'm not waiting until the end of the day to leave, right? Do you know what I mean? So it's like the building catches on fire. I leave at 4:30, but I'm not going to wait until 4:30. I'm going to be like urgently trying to leave the thing now. So it's like, how do we light the fire under our butts towards this financial goal that we're trying to reach? How do we like pretend that the building we're in is on fire? Like our finances are on fire. How do we try to figure this out? How do we get out of it? Does that make sense? Was that a weird analogy? But basically said differently, it's like, how do we create urgency? That's kind of what I'm trying to say. How do we create urgency in the things that we're trying to accomplish? And then for the length of the goal, the time, obviously the time matters for the length of the goal. If it's a short-term goal, medium-term, long-term goal. So the longer the goal, obviously the more attention and the more focus that you need to put on it. And the bigger the goal, so if we're talking a lot about like a 10-year goal, for example, you likely need to have a lot of smaller goals to get to that point. You can't just have a goal of like, okay, I want to do something in 10 years. It's like, well, we probably need to reverse engineer what we would need to do every year, every month, every week to try and make that happen as we progress, because we can't get to year 8 or 9 and then be like, oh, I wanted to do this thing 8 years ago. We have to start thinking about it today. So that is, guys, the SMART framework for financial goals. So just to recap the what they were. So S for specific, M for measurable, A for achievable, R for relevant, and T for time. And specific answers the questions of who, what, when, where, and why. Measurable meaning either it happened or it didn't. Achievable goals, like within our current resources and capabilities, with the caveat of the shorter the goal, the more achievable we want it to be. The longer the goal, the less achievable we want it to feel. We want it to sound crazy, okay? Relevant, it aligns with the larger goals, so life and financial, so think like the North Star goals. And then time is the deadline that creates the urgency. So if we were to combine kind of all this entire framework and kind of roped it in with that example before, how we were trying to pay off $3,000 of credit card debt in 16 months, right? So let's work through this now. So in 6 months, my $3,000 credit card debt will be paid off. So we talked about 6 months, so there was a time element there. My $3,000 credit card debt will be paid off. So that's kind of like a specific. There's a lot of like the who, what, when, where's, right? This means I'll need to average $500 a month towards my debt by being more intentional with my spending. So we have a measurable item in here. We have a $500 per month. We can measure that. Are we actually paying $500 a month towards the debt? And then by being more intentional with my spending. So like something like that, it's kind of a vague sentence in terms like, oh, being more intentional with my spending, but that feels achievable, where it's like if I just track my finances. I look into it a little more and I try to figure everything out. And then more specifically, spending way less on things not aligned with this goal. And that is like a relevant piece. So I kind of touched on the five pieces there. And if we were to talk that through again, I'm not going to reread it again, but that was basically 3 sentences for one financial goal. And to revert it back to the beginning, that's way better than just saying, I want to become debt free, right? Because now it's like you're locked in, you know the time frame, you know why you're doing it, what's the reason, what you're going to benefit from it, right? All this other stuff. So yeah, how are we feeling here? It's like making stairs step by step instead of just putting the last brick. Understood. Yeah, I appreciate it, Ahmed. Yeah, I'm glad that that made sense for you. Yeah, no, that's a great analogy, step by step. And I think I think too many people, because I see this on social media all the time and it kind of frustrates me, but too many people are focused on doing a thing before they're ready to do the thing. So like in personal finance, it's like people want to invest, people want to make money. They want their money to make money, right? It's sexy, it's fun. Like you're like, wow, I'm making money. This is awesome. But if you haven't built up really the habits of like saving money, or if you're in like a crap ton of debt, and then you're also excited about all these investing opportunities, it's like you have to think about it a little bit. So if you're in debt and you're trying to invest, you have to think like, okay, what are the interest rates of my debt? And what are the interest rates of a potential return in this thing that I'm trying to do? And I don't really talk about investing a lot on this channel, but I just like to iron this point home because Ahmed, you gave me a great visual, and I was like, oh, I gotta say this. A lot of people have, if you have like a credit card debt, it's definitely over 15-20%, right? And there's not too many investing vehicles that are going to get you that return consistently. So I never like to tell people what to do with their money, but it's something that you just have to kind of look at the math and ask yourself, okay, does it make sense for me to keep paying these high interest rates, making someone else rich and wealthy? Or going back to the analogy of like, what if we just focus on this one thing for a shorter period of time? We pay off the debt with all the extra funds that we have, and then we can dip into like the world of investing. And it depends on what kind of debt you have too. If you have like a student loan, maybe it's 4% or something like that of interest, and you're able to get a return of 8% in an investing vehicle or something like that. That I would say is like, that makes sense in my opinion to kind of be doing both. Yeah, exactly, Ahmed. They just don't want to suffer. They want to crave for the easy method. Absolutely. And that's kind of what I was talking about before with like the 8 $100 bills going to different things. It's like they're shooting for all these things. They want one of them to like pay off and like, make them rich. But really it makes more sense in my opinion to just focus the energy on one thing at a time. Yeah, so I hope that makes sense. So kind of at the beginning of this live stream, and actually I should probably talk about my free personal finance community, Dollar Discipline University. And I know that Crystal, if you're still in here, Crystal's in there. And basically I'm just helping people save more money, pay off debt, build up their personal finance foundation. And everything inside the community is completely free. The tools, the training, the resources. I'm doing free strategy calls with all new members that join. And then usually what happens is it turns out that we go on like a multiple call sort of coaching thing. And so if you're comfortable kind of talking to me about your finances, your problems, your struggles, and where you want to go, the link is in the description of this live stream. That might be a little clunky to get to. So it's also in it's the link on my channel page. Yeah, appreciate it, Crystal. Yeah, Crystal recommends it, guys. So yeah, I would check it out. It's a great community in there. It's not just me either. It's like people in here that are sharing their wins. They're talking about Like for example, someone today or yesterday posted about a June no spend challenge. So like they're gonna try really hard to not spend money in June, and other people are jumping on board, and it's just a fun. It's not me like doing the stuff. It's like other people in there are contributing, and it's a lot of fun. How can I join it? Yeah, so this chat is delayed, so but I'll share it again. So it's in the description of this live stream, and I don't know how you can do that. It's kind of clunky doing it in the short vertical. So if you go to my channel page, there's a link. It's school.com/debt, and the community is called Dollar Discipline University. Everything inside is completely free. So Ahmed, I'd love to see you in there. That would be great. All right, so I'm not quite done yet. I was interested, if anyone's interested in maybe sharing, like, did anyone have a thought of like what kind of goal they're trying to reach, and then how would they apply the SMART framework, the goal framework around it? Like, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, that's totally fine. But I guess let me know, like, how did this kind of little presentation change how you think about financial goals now? Did it change the way that you want to attack like different time periods? Like, have you only been thinking maybe in the short term, like you're just trying to get month to month and figure stuff out, right? But is it like, oh, maybe I need to think a little longer term? Because the longer term we think, I think the more valuable that is, in my opinion. I'll be there for sure. All right, Ahmed, cool. Can't wait to see you in there. I'm just gonna take a drink. My throat is like destroyed. And yeah, this was actually a presentation that I created myself, that I actually, there's a video inside the community of me going through this as well. But it's really fun, actually. This is way more fun doing this live with the few guys, with the few of you guys kind of contributing in the chat and everything. Because me just talking to a camera is super boring, but me like seeing you guys' responses and everything, it's really, really fun. So, but anyway, yeah, I pulled this from my personal finance community, and I don't know, I hope it was beneficial. So with that said, guys, I think I'm gonna call it. I'm struggling here. So it's almost 10 p.m. Ahmed, I don't know how you're up in the middle of the night here. What's your LinkedIn and other socials, Chris? I'd really be happy to follow you. Yeah, so I to go back to the distractions thing, I'm actually a big believer in kind of going towards one thing. I tried the whole, hey, I'm on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn and X and all this stuff, and I was just getting so distracted with all the like posting in all the places and like trying to you know respond to comments and other things like that. So I turned my focus just to one thing. Well, I guess two things, but really YouTube is my social media platform, and then school is where I'm hosting the community. So really, I guess two places. But for me, so I guess to answer your question, I'm not active on any of those other those platforms right now. Maybe as I get a little more time throughout the process, I can start going back into those. But yeah, nothing. Unfortunately, no other places to find me. It's just YouTube and school. But I'm really glad that Ahmed, that you found some value from this live stream. And yeah, I don't know how you're staying up so late, which is kudos to you. But I'm gonna hit the hay, guys. And so this was another Finance After Dark. I'm doing this every single night through at least June. It's a lot of fun. Now that we got some interactions coming in here, it's very fun. So I don't know exactly what time. It's basically just I put my two kiddos kind of to bed around 7, and then I do a little work, on making content or school stuff or having calls with people inside the community. And then once I get tired, I'm gonna flip on the camera and just kind of talk to people through here. And so I think it's gonna be around 9 o'clock Eastern every single night. So, but yeah, make sure you subscribe. You might get notified if I go live. I'd appreciate it if you like the live stream, if you got value from this. 6:41 a.m. Oh my gosh. Are you up late, Ahmed, or are you like up early? Cuz that's insane, my friend. I mean, I'm up early. 6:41 p.m. Yeah, yeah, yeah. West Coast for you, Crystal. Yeah, so you're like still just your night is just starting. Alrighty, guys. Well, that's it for me. Hopefully, I'll see you. I don't want to put pressure on you, but come join me most nights during the week. I think that would be a lot of fun. And have a great rest of your Monday, or Ahmed, your Tuesday.